Hi there, grade 12s, Mr. H here, with a last minute video where I've just looked once again, taken a good look over the 2023 and 2024 IEB and DBE papers, as well as the 2025 IEB supplementary paper. These are just a few items that I think we need to go through. Some small things just to put the cherry on the cake. So in the May 2025 supplementary paper, I found the following. In question 1, file and folder management, they asked us to check for the bit depth of the PNG file. And that was logo.png. So I'm just going to right click on it. I'm going to go to properties as we always do. And to find the bit depth, you won't find it here. You'll have to go to details. You'll actually have to scroll down. And let's see. Where is it? There we go. The bit depth. Okay. So you can see all the different settings here under details. The next one I've come across is in question 2.4, which says, and this is the document in question 2 called business plan. They say below the heading, they want us to take the text and basically turn that into a numbered list. So they want us to go to page 3, financial planning. There we go, financial plan. And they want us to take this over here and turn it into a numbered list. So you can see all I'm going to do, I'm just going to highlight it. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to go to my numbered lists and I'm going to indicate what I want. And what do they want? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, done. Okay, and then here's another one where they want me to take these two paragraphs and make sure that when they move to the next page that they don't split. So all I've got to do for that is go to paragraph, go up to line and page breaks, keep with next, keep lines together, click OK, and done. And then what's going to happen is if I move it to another page, you see there, it'll take the whole 2 paragraphs together. 3.8. They had a question about converting an a footnote to an endnote. So they wanted us to go to where there was a footnote over here, and they want us to convert that to an endnote. Now, all we're going to do, there's our footnote over there. We're going to go to our references, footnotes. We're going to go over here. And we can click on convert all footnotes to endnotes, and we're going to click OK. In question 5, found this one very interesting. Use a spreadsheet feature to remove the duplicates in the supplier name and product category. So over here with supplier name, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to go to data, and then you see there's remove duplicates. Okay. And then we can remove the duplicates. We can say which one they wanted, supplier name, and they wanted product category. Click OK. 9 duplicates have been found and removed. Click OK. Done. So question 6 had 3 interesting formulas. 6.1 mentioned if a product sales on non-promo is more than its sales on promotion. So here we've got sales on promotion, sales on non-promo. So they're saying if the one is more than the other, the text more needs to be displayed. And if it doesn't, the text less needs to be displayed. Now we know that that is what? That is an if statement. So we're going to go equals if, and we're just going to say if whatever is in cell G2 is greater than whatever is in cell F2, what must happen? It must display the word more. If it doesn't, and if it doesn't match the criteria, what must happen? It must display the word less. There we go. Done. If G2 is greater than F2, more, if not less. The next one, they want us to go into this J267 over here. And they say calculate the total amount of sales for all the non-promotional products in cell J267. Ensure that this value is rounded off to a whole number with no decimals. Now, if we're working on some sort of total, we're always just going to go equals sum And we're just going to add up everything. So I'm just going to highlight all of that. And that would be fine, right? Do that first. What do they want next? Then they said they wanted that rounded off. So all I'm going to do is, I'm going to go and type in here, round, open my bracket, get to the end, and then what would I usually put in? Usually put in my semicolon or my comma, 0, close my bracket. And there we go. I've rounded that off, and then I can just remove these decimals as well. And there we go. Done. Then this last one. The total amount of non-promotional products of sales more than 100,000. So for that, based on the question, because they want to know, determine the total amount of product sales of more than 100,000 sales on the non-promotional price in cell E272 using the data from column G. Okay. Then they want us to use the data in column J as well. So in other words, I'm going to go to a sum if. Okay. You can do a sum ifs if you want to. You don't have to, but we're going to go for a sum if. We're going to open there, and we're going to look at our range. Our range is in column G. So we're going to highlight everything in column G. There we go. What is our criteria? Our criteria is going to be more than 100,000. And our sum range, that is going to be in column J. So we're going to go over to column J. J2, we're going to highlight everything there. And done. All right. So for this one, they wanted us to go into this document. This was 1.2. And they wanted us to actually go to the style solar. They wanted us to make some changes. That's modifying the style. But I'm just making sure of this because you want to go check under your text effects. You've got text outline, text fills, you've got shadows, reflection. Because in this one, they asked you to insert a shadow, and then they asked you to make some adjustments here as well. So the next one said, insert a cross-reference on the text question 1.4, this over here, that goes to the Venus bookmark. So we just want to go to insert bookmark, right? There's a bookmark, so that's fine. And we're going to highlight that, and we're going to go to our references, and we're going to go to cross-reference. And then what do we want to cross-reference it with? A bookmark, Venus, insert, close, done. 1.7 said convert the text below the heading differences between to a table and apply any lists. So convert the text below the heading differences. So we want to look at differences over here. They want us to convert all that text to a table. So we're going to highlight that. We're going to go to table, right? Convert text to table. And they tell us that we can use any table lists. So we just leave it as is, click OK, and then we're done. Now we move over to Excel. So this one I picked up in 3.2. It said insert a comment in cell A1 with a text popular. And this is in the sales worksheet. So we're going over there to A1, and we now need to do what? We need to insert a comment. And we can type in whatever we want to. In this case, it was popular. Done. Now, 3.5, they wanted us to go to cell A12, and you can see here, this is immediately something that comes to mind, which is concatenate. We can already see what's going to happen there. They wanted the day of the month, right? The day of the month on which the product was bought. Then they want the first three letters of the product followed by @SO. So we already know we're going to use a concatenate, right? We already know we're going to do that. Now, what are we going to do further than that? And for this, I'm just going to first put in my apostrophe to make sure that all stays in place. What do we need to do now? We need to put in a formula that's going to give us just the day of the month on which this was purchased. So for that, I'm going to add day. And which cell do I want that from? I want that from, let's open here, B12. Okay, so it's going to give me that. Let me just make sure my brackets are open there. And that's fine. And then they said from the left of C12, which is the product itself, they wanted the first 3 letters. Okay, and then we're going to add, was it at SO? At SO. Okay, I'm going to go all the way back here, just take this apostrophe out. The reason I've got the apostrophe, if I hit enter, can you see it's just going to show me all of the text there. All right, the minute I take that out, see what is, my apostrophe, sorry, my semicolon, hit enter, and there we go. So folks, that's what it should look like. Can you see how day has been brought in there as well? Okay, this one has to do with conditional formatting, and they want us to apply conditional formatting in column G to match up with whatever's in H3. So I'm just going to highlight everything that I have in this column. They're going to go up to conditional formatting, and I'm going to go to new rule. I'm going to go to format only cells that contain what? So they're looking at the cell value. The cell value has to be equal to what? To whatever is in H3. So I'm going to click there, click on H3. So now if it picks up anything here under shipment method that is equal to what we find in H3, what must happen? Let's choose anything here. They want a yellow background, full, green, blue, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Click OK. Click OK again. And there we can see it's now done the conditional formatting. So here's one that does rear its head every now and then. That is in database. They want us to insert a validation rule. Now, not just a normal validation rule, but one for the start date field. So we want to go start date field, validation rule, to make sure that valid dates are entered as follows. The company started on the 1st of June 2021. Employees cannot be appointed after the current date. Add an appropriate validation text. So the validation text is fine. I'm not too phased about that. But what can we put in as a validation rule? Now the company, they said, started on the 1st of June. And please remember, when we put dates in, we're going to use our hashes. So here I'm going to go 2021-06-01. Okay, I'm just putting my date in because that is my start date. So that's fine. Now, they're saying to me, they want a validation rule where employees cannot be appointed after the current date. So how do we get our current date? That can either be with a date, open and close bracket. We can use now, open and close bracket as well. So in other words, dates can only be entered between the 1st of June and today's current date. Right? So what are we going to do? We can use between, we can say between, and there's our first date. Then we'll have to say and whatever, date we are at now, whether you're using now or whether you are using date. Right? You can also, if you don't want to use between, you can also say greater than or equal to this date and less than or equal to now. Okay, so any of those two can be used. Then the next one, they wanted us to go to the designation field, and they wanted us to actually make a change to a lookup. So I'm going to go into lookup here, and you see I've got a combo box. So if I go back and I'm just saving, I've got a combo box in designation. Okay. And I'm going to go back. And what do they want me to do? They want me to modify the lookup properties for the designation fields for the values to appear as shown in the example. And there is the example. So they wanted to look like that. Okay, so how are we going to go about doing that? You can go to your field list over here and say value list, right? From there, we then need to, I think the only one on that image that we didn't have was the assistant. Okay, the assistant manager. And then you could just go in here and say assistant manager, save it, and there you would have that, right? So just make sure you put in everything in place. Okay, then the last one, I'm just looking at something I found in HTML, and that's just a simple comment. So remember, we can open our website like that, but we actually want to go into the coding. And let me just bring that over. And they wanted us to pop in a comment over here. So can you see our comments are added in there, which means all I'm going to do if I want to, I think they wanted your exam number in there. So this is all I'm going to do. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that's it. Comment done. Okay, so one that I picked up in 2023 under Excel was 4.4. Modify the function in cell A11 to display only the initial or initials of the customer in column B. So let's go and have a look at this. That was cell A11. And they want us to only pick up the initial. Okay, so can you see everybody's initial or initials is slightly different, right? And it's obviously in different places because everyone's surname is different. So we're going to double click in there and we're going to have a look at this. What are we missing here? Okay, so we've got our mid. Okay, now we are going to cell B11. That's exactly where we need to be. And instead of the 0, what do we need to now put in here? We need to actually go and put in a find. So I'm going to go with find. And what do we need to find? We need to actually find where the comma is. Okay, can you see there? Each one has the comma, right? From that point, what do we need to do? We then need to go back into B11. I'm just going to take that out. And I'm going to close that bracket. And we then want to go +2. Okay, because the first one is a space, so we're going to start from the second one. Then, from there, we're then going to go len, capitals, you don't have to use capitals, and I'm going to go B11, and I'm going to close, and I'm going to close. Now, there are a number of different ways to do this, and I think that is my semicolon again. So let's just see, because if I pull this down, that's a T, let's add a C, and it goes TC. So now we know it works. Then in database 5.5, with the exact wording of this, they wanted us to put in a calculation into our query, which is something they generally always ask. They want us to open that based on the pre-bookings table. That's fine. Insert a new field, and they want us to call, and let me just open this so we can all see. And we want to name that one total, and we put in our colon. Okay, so that is our total. Now, what do they want us to do? They want us to calculate the total travel cost for a client for a return trip. Okay, for a return trip. So where do we find that? That'll be with the kilometers travel. That's this one. So you remember those brackets? Okay, M travel square bracket. Okay, so we're fine so far. What we need to do next is continue with the question, see what it says. The client is charged R6.25 per kilometer traveled. Okay, so what we would normally do is just say multiply it by, and it would be 6.25. But now they want a return trip. So it's going to be multiplied by 2. Now, whether you say multiplied by 2 times 6.25 or times 6.25 times 2, it doesn't matter, right? We're then just going to go here, and it's probably because of the comma. Okay, and that's fine. 3 bookings, run the query. And there we are, done. Okay, and grade 12s, that is it. There's nothing else I can really do. I've put everything in place, given you all the final push files. Please don't forget that when you do go to the channel and you do go to the videos, you go to any one of these, please do remember just to go into the description, and you'll see the final push files are there with all of these files that I've gone through now, the relevant playlists, all of that stuff there that you need. And that will also link you over to the final push that I did for 2024. So all the best from Mr. H. God bless. I know you're going to do your best, and good luck for the exams.